Welcome, ladies, to the Real Estate Investor Show, providing inspiration, strategies, and insight to empower women investors to live balanced and financially free lives. Now, here are your co-hosts, Liz and Andressa.
Hey everyone, this is Liz.
And this is Andressa.
We are so excited to announce that our virtual summit is coming up on June 12th. Woo! This is our second annual virtual summit, and it's more than a summit. This is going to be an absolute experience to be part of, because we are not just going to be, planning speakers, amazing speakers, by the way, but we're going to be doing so much more than that. I want to really highlight that we're focused on 3 pillars, giving you content and information around real estate investing, around business, and around mindset and self-care, our 3 pillars of what we do in the investor organization. Not only do we have an amazing kind of speaker lineup that's covering topics from lead generation, social media, raising money, creative financing, but we actually also have tons of bonus material of people talking, of amazing women talking about strategies around land flipping and Airbnb in a box and much, much more.
Exactly. And as Liz said, this is going to be an experience, and we're going to have a pre-event for you guys to enjoy each other, accountability groups, live mastermind, and networking. So we've thought about everything that you need, and we are putting everything in one day. So share with other women. Please share with other women that might benefit from being part of our community and part of this event. So all the information is going to be below. I will see you soon.
Welcome back, ladies. This is Liz.
And this is Andressa.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Investor Show. We have a very, very special episode here today and this week. Lisa Nichols is with us. Lisa, thank you so much for being on our podcast.
You're welcome. I'm so excited to be with you, ladies. I've been looking forward to this.
Well, we're so excited. We're going to jump into Lisa in a moment here, and just so excited about having her on and why that is. Before we go there, Andressa, let's just share a little bit about our summit coming up literally in 3 weeks, right?
Yes. This is our annual event, and we always base every single thing that we do in 3 pillars, which is real estate investing, business strategy, and self-care. And we have chosen Lisa to be the keynote this year because we do believe mindset, it's so important. Sometimes I believe it's more important than exit strategies, real estate strategies that you have. Because if you don't know that you're stuck and your mindset is holding you back, doesn't matter how many books you read, the guru that is teaching you X, Y, and Z to get rich quick, right? Or any other strategies that you might be getting. So we really want to emphasize this to you. And today on this quick, we're going to tease you a little bit with Lisa. We're going to talk about mindset and how to maintain and cultivate a growing mindset.
And I just, and Andressa and I were talking about our second annual summit and planning. We were talking about keynotes, and we were talking about different possibilities, and and then your name came up. I'm like, oh my God, I love her. And I was just like, I love her too. And I was first introduced to you, Lisa, when you were on The Secret. And that was many years ago. And like I said, I remember there's so many people who spoke in it, and such a great movie, great book, such transformation, all information. And when you spoke, I had such an ease that went over me, right? I had such there's this calming, your presence was calming to me. I was just like, I'm like, oh, she's talking again. Now I'm listening. And then someone else would talk that I didn't, they're okay. I don't remember their name or what they look like. It's probably a guy. But regardless, when you spoke, it was like this calming. So Lisa is New York Times bestseller. She's a transformational, motivational speaker and has impacted probably millions of people in our world. So Lisa, I would like to kick things off and ask you what propelled you to be doing the work you're doing? Let's go there, because I know you had a path, journey, if you will, and it's not just always straight. So I'd love to hear a little more about your background and who you are.
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, thank you, ladies, for having me. I'm honored to be a part of the Invest Her community and experience, an annual experience. And what a great time to focus on mindset, because I believe that mindset will set the GPS for where we go, where she's going to go next. It's not going to be environment. It's not going to be history. It's not going to be opportunity. It's going to be mindset. Literally. And so I'm grateful. And I'm grateful for a very personal reason. I said to you before we went on camera that as soon as I saw everything you guys were doing, I was like, oh, this is my tribe. Oh, this is me. I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to myself 15 years ago. And the conversation around mindset is so important because my path to become a transformational coach and the CEO of a training and development company is not what I see a lot of my students. A lot of my students are doing really wonderful and they want to teach other people more. That wasn't my path. Liz, you asked that question. My path came from, I didn't want to see just a portion of my potential anymore. I didn't want to wonder who I could become. I knew that I was doing decent, but I was only a version of myself. I was only a version. And I kept hearing, you have so much potential. And I was young at the time. I was in my 20s. And I didn't know what I did well before I found out what I didn't do well. I say that because I was fired from 5 jobs in my 20s. I know that's shocking. I thought it was normal until I started telling people. and then when I started telling people and I'd see their face like, what? I go, oh, maybe it wasn't normal. I just didn't, I was a slow bloomer. I didn't know what I was great at. I became a single mom at 29, unexpected. I looked up and I was like, I haven't touched what I was good at yet. I have this child. I need to rescue myself. And so I heard someone say once, wherever your mind is, your lifestyle will follow. I didn't understand it. I had no idea what it meant, but I picked up one book and I started reading one book, Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And I only understood about 30% of that book. Like it was so intense. But I said, if I can implement the 30% that I understand, maybe something will happen. And so I read the book 6 times because I'm functionally dyslexic. And I have to read and read and read and read and read just to get the one nugget, just to understand it. And so I began to understand that my mind was the doorway to my next season. Wherever my next season was going to be, whatever my next experience was going to be, my mind was the doorway to that. And so I began to ask myself, what don't I know? Because I can only implement what I know. And so I stopped caring about what I knew, Andressa. I didn't care about what I knew. I wanted to know what I don't know. And I began this hunt and I became like, and let me just back up and say, I made a promise to my son at 8 months old.
What was it?
Well, I couldn't afford to buy him Pampers. And I had to wrap him in a multiple towels for 2 days. And I knew that felt like rock bottom for me. That felt like rock bottom. That felt like rock bottom. I'm supposed to feed my child. I'm supposed to protect my child. I'm supposed to clothe my child. And I put my hand on his stomach and I said with tears streaming down my face, Mommy will never be this broke or broken again. And I was willing to do whatever it took to make sure I never got anywhere close to the zip code of that space again. And in that commitment, I said, I have to find out what I don't know. I need my mind to shift. I need my mind to move to a new zip code. Because if my mind moves to a new zip code, then my lifestyle has to follow. But I can get more money. But if I don't change my mindset, the money is going to go back down to zero. So it matches my mindset. I can get in a new relationship, but if my mind doesn't shift, the relationship's going to crash and burn as well. I can go on another diet, but if I don't change my mind, I'm going to gain that way back. I realized every single thing, Liz, that I was trying to change out there, all came back to what was I thinking? And it wasn't what was I consciously thinking, ladies. It was what was I unconsciously thinking? What was in my subconscious, not the top layer, but the layer under the layer under the layer. I became, and I didn't have a psychology background. If I did, it wasn't pleasant. I didn't pass the class, I'm sure. So I didn't have a background of studying neuro linguistic programming, the management of the brain. I just said, I got to get to another place in me. I need to see another version of me. And if I need to learn how my mind is thinking to do that, I'm willing to be a student of a whole new conversation. And so that was the turning point, Liz. That was that moment. It wasn't a moment of, I want to help the world. It was a moment of, I deserve more for me. I don't want to get to the end of my life and only see 60% of who I could have been. And I think every woman listening to us today, looking at us today, we all have that desire. I don't want to get to the end of my life when I'm sitting down, and I'm going to be sitting down for the next 10 years or 5 years or 2 years or whatever, and say, man, who could I have been? Who could I have been? I didn't want to meet her. I didn't want to have that conversation. My grandmother says, today you can make a decision to protect the future memories of yourself. Deep.
Wow, deep, super deep.
Super deep.
Well, I think like listening to your story, I can visualize every single thing. You put your hand on your son and everything. And to the women that are listening, right? You know your time, right? That time came to your head right now, and you can feel it in your gut, how it feels. And I know mine, and I turn that pain into feel to me, to propel me to do not live that again. So when you're saying that sometimes we don't know, right? We don't know what we don't know, and it's unconscious. So let's say if I'm sitting here, I am doing well. I have my real estate investments. I have my family, yada, yada. What questions should I ask myself to know if I am on the quote unquote stuck bucket, or if I have a growth mindset, or if I am on my right path? Is there any questions that I could be asking myself to determine that?
I love that question, Andressa, because Andressa, one of the things that I am clear of is most of us who are movers and shakers, we don't ever look stuck. We have mastered momentum lifestyles. So you got to watch out, and you can't compare what stuck looks like on you to what it looks like on someone else in your family or your neighbors. Because if you have a 64 ounce capacity bucket, you can't measure your 64 ounce, can't compare your 64 ounce capacity to someone with a 32 ounce capacity. You can't do that. So watch out. Benjamin Franklin says comparison will and always be the thief of all your joy. It will either give you a false indication that you're doing just enough and don't do anything else, or it'll make you think you're not doing enough. So don't compare. And we, as women, we have a tendency to look left and right a lot more than men. So we have to watch out, compliment and encourage, and then do you. No one can do you better than you. Right? You are a unique, unrepeatable miracle. Now, when you're in momentum and when you're a mover and shaker like we all are, if you're looking at this podcast, I hope you're going to the conference. If you're going to the conference and you're planning to do things with forward moving people, you have to watch out, because we're always moving forward. The question to ask yourself is, am I touching, write this down, am I touching the next best version of myself? Or have I become comfortable in the current version of me? I'll say that again. Am I touching? Am I stretching? Am I stretching to touch the next best version of myself? Because you got to watch out, because this version can be really impressive. We're gladiators. So when we gladiate, you walk around and you're a unicorn. You walk around and you see other people who are not unicorns. You can look pretty spectacular, but you also can get stuck in the spectacular that you became 5 years ago. Right? Hello. Can we raise our hand to that? We've all done that. My 7-figure, 8-figure income can impress you, but I've been sitting here for a while. The fact that I've touched millions That's my bio. You should be asking me about my future O. So the reason why we go to conferences like this, I went to the same conference, ladies, 42 times. I used to be embarrassed about that, but I'm not embarrassed anymore because I didn't know of any other place to go. And I didn't want to just try to do it by myself. And I needed a place that was going to constantly pull me forward. It wasn't the best conference. It was like all guys, they were all corporate and all, but it was just somewhere to go to remind me, Lisa, touch the next best version of yourself. Don't become comfortable in who you were last year this time. And so that's one of the questions to ask yourself is, have I become comfortable in what I've achieved already? Did I own it and go, you know what? I've achieved this. Now, what does the next best version of myself look like? Also, ask yourself the question, would I be comfortable if I were here 5 years from now? And if the answer is no, then follow that with the question, where do I see myself 5 years from now? It's a really great setup because one question leads to the next. Would I be comfortable if I were here 5 years from now? You can say yes, you've reached your pinnacle. Okay, great. Be comfortable in that. But if the answer is no, then the next question is, where do I see myself 5 years from now? Why do I choose 5 years? Because I want to encourage you ladies to dream big enough where it will take you 5 years to get there. Because you have to watch out when you're a runner and you're a doer and you're a gladiator, you can run and hit it so fast, you'll stop running. So you can't set a goal that's right here. Set one that's right here. That's your macro goal. And then set micro wins to let you know you're on the way. And at the micro win, you want to celebrate yourself. And you also want to get connected with a tribe who's running as well, because you will always say, I will not be the weakest link. So if you're in a tribe that's running, they'll keep you moving, and not from a spirit of competition, but from a spirit of compliment. That's what I love about the Invest Her organization and group, is that it's a spirit of compliment, not competition. I'm always surrounding myself with women and men that are running so that I can go, okay, that's because every now and then you think you're running because your walk looks pretty powerful. Unless you're around people who are playing their best game, then you go, oh, hold on. Ladies, I got up at 5 o'clock this morning to work out. I never get up at old dark 30. Never get up at old dark 30. But I got up because 47 other women and 2 men have been getting up every other day at 5 a.m. And I thought, you know what? I am not going to let another Monday go by, another Tuesday go by, Wednesday go by, and I miss out because they're running. I wouldn't have done it on my own, which is why you want to hook your caboose to someone else's train. And that's what I think I did more than anything. I kept hooking my caboose to someone else's train, someone that was 10 to 20 steps ahead of me. And while I was a teacher of The Secret and other things, I also was someone's student at the same time.
I love that. I think some of what you're saying resonates on on a deep level. And these are deep questions, right? And these are important questions. So many times, so much of what we've created this community 3 years ago, Andressa and I, was about empowering women to create a financially free life, but in a balanced way, right? So in a way, whatever balance means to you, but in a way that doesn't like literally trade your time. I mean, I came from corporate. Andressa and I are like, I don't know anyone who works harder, her or I, probably her. But, so you have this mindset, but you don't want to just kill yourself while you're creating something. That's not what we want either. So we really are passionate about this idea of balance. So when women are asking themselves this question, I mean, we'll have women who they don't have time. They don't take time for themselves, right? They don't take time for their physical or spiritual self, let alone their emotional, well-being of what you're saying. So how do women who are super busy, and everyone's busy, but how do women who are the doers, they're spinning so many plates, create that space for themselves to ask themselves those questions that are quite honestly going to get them to where they want to go, but they don't always take the time to ask themselves. So
absolutely. Well, I know a little something about that. Building a multi-million-dollar company as a mother and as a single mother, and whose family is my nucleus, finding family time, finding parenting time, CEO time. I don't get on the highway and drive to work. I would get on a 747 and fly to work. And so it always was a balancing. And one thing I'm going to give you a couple of things in that area. One, eliminate saying, I don't have enough time, because you're never going to get blessed 75 minutes in an hour. you will always still have 60 minutes and an hour. So it's not that you don't have enough time. It's reorganizing and remanaging the time that you have. So we all get very comfortable in the statement, I don't have enough time, as if when I get more time, I'll do it. Well, that's never going to happen. Guaranteed tomorrow, there are going to be 24 hours in that day. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. There will not be 26 and a half because you needed more time. And so I stopped saying that. Liz, I stopped saying I don't have enough time because that left me as the victim. It left me as the victim to time. And time is something that I control because I manage it. I don't give myself more time. I give myself more organization inside my time. And so now, mind you, I'm an artist. I'm a linguistic artist. I'm a creator. So creators don't like management. Creators don't like structure, right? But in order for me to be an effective leader, in order for me to have harmony, balance and harmony in my life, in order for me to have an abundant experience. Now, wealth and abundance are totally different, right? Wealth is wealth. It's singular focus. It's based on finances and assets. Abundance combines wealth, combines relationship, combines spirituality, combines health and wellness. So abundance is a holistic conversation where wealth is unilateral. I just want to make sure that's really clear. I've been pursuing wealth for a long time. Why? Because I was so broke. I'm like, well, I did broke already. So now that I've mastered that, let me go master wealthy. And so as I'm building my wealth, I realized that I didn't have abundance because I didn't have time with my son. I was over 220 pounds. My family stopped calling me to attend family functions because I was always too busy and didn't have time. So here I was, I created this wealth, the top 1% income earner in America, I'm now in that category. And I was like, yes, I did it. But hold on. Watch out, because you don't want to create a Pyrrhic victory. You may want to write this down. Pyrrhic is spelled Phyrric. That might be wrong, but it's close enough. You'll find it. A Pyrrhic victory is named after General Pyrrhus. And General Pyrrhus said after he won 2 wars, he says, I can't afford to win another war. And when asked why, he said, because winning has cost me to lose my greatest generals and my best friends. From that was named the Pyrrhic victory. And a Pyrrhic victory is when the cost, get this, the cost of the victory outweighs the victory itself. And most of us who are successful, you guys both can think of people, at one time it was me that I created a Pyrrhic victory. I got out of poverty, got off food stamps. I'm living my best life ever. I have a multi-million-dollar business, but all these other breakdowns occurred. And so what I began to do is I began to go, okay, how do I manage my time? Because I cannot expand time. But what I can do is I can organize time. So the first thing is to number one is to believe you don't have to choose. You don't ever have to choose between business and family. You don't ever have to choose. You get to have both. And you get to have both abundantly. Time organization becomes key and critical. And where most people don't want to organize their time is they think that they'll lose their freedom. Not if you organize freedom in your time. So in my day, I organize my day from 6 a.m. until about 10:30 p.m. when I lay down. And inside that day, I have breathing breaks. I have walking breaks. I have a break that says time freedom, which means I can do whatever I want to do. Now it's for like 20 minutes, but that's all I need because I'm an artist. I don't want to feel like I'm being controlled, but I do want to get it all done. Does that make sense? Yeah. The biggest compliment my son gave to me when he was 21, we were on stage and he said, Mom, I'm blown away with the empire you've built because I've always known that I was your priority.
Wow.
Oh, I was done. I was done. Man, that's all I need. Tears down my face. And he said, I never wondered if I were your priority. But it was because I put Jelani mommy time every night when I was home. I wasn't home all the time. But when I'm home, 6:30 to 8 o'clock, And I don't care what we did whatever he wanted to do. I can give that time away. So he always knew that. We always did the same thing, you guys. We played Monopoly. I hate Monopoly, but Jelani loves Monopoly. And so something in that rhythm, something in that ritual. And so, Liz, that was a big lesson I had to learn, is that there is enough time. It's my job to organize it effectively, that I do get to have both. I don't have to choose either or. I don't have to choose between love, business, and family. I want all of it. You deserve all of it, right? And it's just a matter of managing it.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. So I was listening to Brené Brown and Tim Ferriss. They were having a talk, and they were talking about mindset and this like misconception that people have, that they struggle with continue being grateful to who they are and being super okay with it, and the pressure to grow, to become their better version. And it's like, should I continue moving forward, or quote unquote changing who I am to become, I don't want to become somebody else. And I think that there's a misconception there that by growing your mindset, you're going to become somebody that you are not, and changing your core values. So I just wanted you to speak about this, because that's what's going on in a lot of women's mindset. I don't want to become somebody that I am not. So
I don't want to lose myself.
Exactly.
Oh, honey, listen, girl, y'all just all over my stuff. You all in my Kool-Aid. This has been my last 20 years. It's not just about mindset. It's also money. Like, I was afraid to make $1 million. I remember when I made $975,000 by October, I was so afraid, unconsciously afraid, didn't even know I was afraid of changing, that I stopped working for the rest of the year, Liz. I stopped working.
Then sabotage.
Unconscious. I thought I was tired. No one around me was making that much money, so everyone accepted my excuse. It worked, right? And then the next year was a really great year, and I got to 985,000 by August, and I thought I wanted to take off again. Lord knows I don't want to take off for 6 months. Like, what? I'll pull my braids out, right? Like, what would I do? But what I realized when I did the deeper work, Andressa, was I realized that I was afraid to cross $1 million because I thought that would make me a different person. And I thought that I couldn't be a spiritual being, and I couldn't be a godly being and be wealthy. I realized that I wouldn't have a lot in common with the women around me, and I would have even less in common with the women of color around me. When my cousins joked about robbing Peter to pay Paul, I no longer had any contribution because I can pay Peter and Paul. Like, it was all of this social acceptance going on in my head. And I didn't realize that the desire to be socially accepted exceeded, listen to this, my desire to move further in life. When you get that, and when you just say it out loud, being socially accepted by my community, my family, is paramount to me. My spiritual community, my familial community, it's paramount to me. Say that so that it's sitting in front, and then ask yourself the question, how do I do both? How do I do both? Because we serve an abundant universe. We live in an abundant place, and we think either or. We were taught as children, now you can have this or that, but you can't have both. And we unconsciously pulled that into our adult lives, and we live like that. You can have this or that, but you can't have both. And when we realize, hold on, let me reprogram that pattern. You can have both. Make both work for you. You can have both. And so the first thing I had to do was really begin to change my programming. So one of the things we're going to talk about at the conference is just, how do you change your programming? Reprogramming my mind was the beginning of everything, because when you plant a new seed and you water that seed and you feed that seed, then you grow a new harvest. You grow a new mindset. That's not just a spiritual reference. That's true. So all I kept doing, which is why I love you guys covering mindset at the conference. I love it because mindset is where everything else begins. And so I kept planting a new seed. How did I do that? I did it in several different ways. Number one, I kept having mantras. I made 2-line mantras. I live off mantras. I can still tell you the mantras I had when my son was 3 years old, 23 years ago, because I did those mantras every day because I needed to reprogram my mind. Because here I am, an African-American woman born in South Central Los Angeles. I grew up between the Harlem Crip 30s and the Rollin 60s. I was on government assistance several times in my life. Here I am building this enterprise, this I had to keep reprogramming myself that it was okay for me to have this. It was okay for me to have wealth. I wasn't abandoning my culture. I wasn't abandoning my gender. I wasn't abandoning my family. And remember, your mantras have to speak to what you want to create, not to what you're running from. So the mantra had to say, I am worthy of prosperity and abundance. Money is my friend. Money is a tool. Money is a team member. Money is my army, and I am the general. Money doesn't define me. I use it to do more good in the world. Like, I know my mantras, right? Because my big issue was around making a lot of money, because I just kept making a lot of money. And I was more uncomfortable with making a lot of money than I was with being broke and managing a dollar. And so I love this question. It literally is a question that I believe that as a community here, we can't dive enough into. And so not only is it financial, but it's also about transforming who you're becoming. So the last thing I'll say about that, Andressa, was I kept stating, I am not becoming someone else. I'm becoming the next best version of myself. I am evolving. I am forever evolving. I give myself permission to evolve. And sister, if you're listening to me right now, just start repeating after me. I am evolving. I give myself permission to evolve. I am constant evolution. I am motion. And in my motion, I inspire others to get and stay in motion. That's what I kept telling myself. That was about the self. And then I had to think about the money. Those are the two areas for me that were big.
Amazing. And I would imagine you have mantras now. Have you ever stopped doing mantras in your life?
No, they just change. So now my mantra is I am worthy of forever love. It's just as I'm worthy of forever love. I'm not just someone good to catch. I'm someone wonderful to keep. Right?
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, that's where I am now. And so my mantras are just because it's real time. You're living in real time. Yeah. So even as a woman, the three of us, every woman listening to us, you're doing great. And for the next best version of yourself, what does she need to hear? What does she need to hear to inspire her to tippy toe? And Andressa, you talked about being cognizant of where you are and then going for the next best. There's this mindset called cognitive dissonance. And cognitive dissonance, I love it. It's in the latest book that I wrote, Abundance Now. I studied cognitive dissonance, and cognitive dissonance is accepting where you are now, but seeing yourself further along. And then the mind becomes disrupted because the mind says, well, in order to get out there, you got to do this, this, and this. And the mind doesn't want to be disrupted. So the mind is going to make you get up more, do more, plan more, because the mind wants to be settled. If you keep seeing yourself there, the mind is going to say, okay, come on now, we got to do something that we're not doing. That concept is called cognitive dissonance. And abundant thinkers and the top 1% people in the world, they literally unconsciously default into cognitive dissonance. It doesn't mean you're not grateful for where you are. You can be in gratitude and cognitive dissonance at the exact same time. And it's how we run after ourselves. Because at a certain point, you might not even have anyone to chase. I'm not saying I'm ahead of everyone, but I couldn't find anyone that fit my mold, that spoke my language, that I could chase. And so I began to really live in cognitive dissonance. I'm grateful for where I am. Where do I see myself in 5 years? Let me chase her.
Ooh, I love that. I'm so excited that you are going to be our keynote for our summit this year. Ladies, if you have not heard, we have a summit coming up June the 12th. Check it out, therealestaiteinvestor.com/level up. It is all about leveling up your mind, your real estate investing strategies, and your business. And that's why we really put together a very, very thoughtful We handpick these speakers. It's going to be a live session, starts Friday night, goes into Saturday. We're doing a mastermind breakout session with our various leaders in our community, literally to help solve problems. Women are getting connected to other women, 6 women teams after the summit. So you actually have accountability groups. So you could actually do something, crazy thought, with what you learn at these summits. People go, they get excited, and they do nothing. So although it's virtual, this is going to be a full-on experience. So please join us. We are super excited about it. Lisa, you've been absolutely amazing today. I'm personally so excited. I wish I could just attend our conference, to be honest, but I'm going to be facilitating. But regardless, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom today. And I'm so excited about having you on, as our keynote in a few weeks.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be with you. You know what? When you just talked about the accountability groups, just a little statistics so you ladies will know that you're 80% more likely to complete the goal you set when you're in an accountability community. So it's so wise and it's so brilliant of you to set the ladies up to win. And a lot of times I say, when you come to a conference, the education is diamonds, but the uranium, the platinum, is when you're put into those small pods. And those pods become your prayer pods, your inspiration pods, or like that is just life. As my niece would call it, that's life, Auntie. That's life.
Love it. Love it, Lisa. We're super excited to have you. And we can't wait for what the plans the universe has for all of us. Thank you so much for being here today. And we can wait for June 12th to have you live again.
I'm looking forward. Ladies, if you have not said yes yet, all you got to do is show up. And then if you come empty, I'll come full and I'll pour everything I have into you at that time.
Thank you again, Lisa.
Thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
If you enjoyed this podcast and want to receive updates on our next interviews, go to our website, therealestateinvestor.com. There, you can subscribe to our show, become part of our investor community, and get updates on upcoming episodes.
If you like our show, please share it with other women who would benefit. And don't forget to leave us a rating on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it. And as always, we encourage you to take one action as a result of today's show and put it into motion so you can live both a financially free and balanced life. Thanks for spending time with us.
Ciao.